I promised y'all this special was going to happen, and it's going to happen right now. Thing is, until you can erase 3 Februaries, shut up. Bang! Quality over quantity. LeBron has beaten some of the best competition in NBA history. He's the GOAT emoji. I will not cuss. I will not cuss. I will not swear. I will not swear.
Where sports is the base, life and fun are the results. This is the Brian Snow Show.
It is indeed the Brian Snow Show, and it's a very special one because these two ladies coming from Edmonton, Alberta, home of the Oilers, and I hope they win Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, have joined me for a very special purpose. Their name collectively is Two Girls with Cancer. And when I found their podcast, I put these on. My wife joined me, and we immediately zoomed in and got hooked. Please help me welcome Becky and Ashley, Two Girls with Cancer, with a very exciting podcast and a very good story that we're going to tell for a little while. Ladies, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Doing good. When I found your podcast, I got to tell you, I got hooked immediately because I identify with just about everything that you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And having stage 4 pancreatic cancer, I'll start here. How did you girls find out that you had cancer? Was there something that precipitated it?
Yes and no.
Yeah. We couldn't, the doctors didn't really know what was happening. And it actually ended up that my appendix had burst. Mm. And then we're like, I was so happy because we figured it out. I'm like, good, and I can carry on with my life, have the surgery. And then when I got the pathology back, it found out that it was cancer.
Yeah. Because with me, it started with bilateral blood clots in both my lungs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I came out of the bathroom one morning. We were living in North Carolina, and I took a tumble. I didn't realize I was unconscious until my daughter came running, my wife came running, and my little dog Lucy came running. Mm-hmm. It involved me getting to the hospital, and I'm going to cry whenever I tell this story because it's been a long journey. As you ladies know, it's a long journey back from cancer. It involved a helicopter ride from Henderson to Durham. It involved my wife and my daughter on the fly, on the ground, getting there. A long, skinny table that still wasn't long enough for me at 6'5", and laying there for 2.5 hours. And every part of me was hurting as they sucked all the blood clots out of me. And just when we thought, as Ashley said, we can carry on with our lives, they spot a mass in my left abdomen. And that came to a biopsy. And the next thing you know, we get popped in the mouth with the news of pancreatic cancer. How did let me come to Becky. Becky, how'd your family take it when they found out that you had cancer? And what kind of cancer did you have?
I had stage 3 breast cancer. And my family, my family was really strong. There was a lot of days where it's like I almost felt like they didn't let me be sick because they were being so strong. So on those days where I just wanted to sit around and play woe is me, I couldn't. I was still a mom and a wife, and I had stuff to do. So, but it was good though. I mean, looking back, it's better than having them just break down all the time.
Ashley, same question to you. How'd your family take it?
It was hard. I'm like the strong one. I'm the very strong, independent, just go getter. And then when I got sick, it was like it was hard for everyone. It's like when you have someone that keeps everyone together and now that person's sick, it's like it's hard for them. It was really, really hard. But once we all kind of knew what was happening, I had a really good support system with my family and my sisters, and I have a little boy. So they were just, I think when you find out, it's so scary because cancer is such a scary word, and then in that moment, your family doesn't really know if you're going to live or going to die. You don't even know if you're going to live or going to die, right? So you have so many different things that go through your head. But then when you process it and are able to get control of it, then, you have that support, and they were really good towards like mid diagnosis.
That's about how it was with me when we found out that I had pancreatic cancer 2 days before my birthday, 3 years ago. You want to talk about a strong one that has kept my family together? This lady right here,
Your wife.
my beautiful wife, has kept me strong on days where I wanted to break. And there were days that I did break, but she wouldn't let me stay down very long. And when it got to stage 4, and as I said, at the time we found out we were living in North Carolina, we go to Duke University Cancer Center, only to find out after several months, which included a move from North Carolina back to Indiana, that there was nothing that, according to them, there was nothing they could do. We had tried oral chemotherapy. I was taking different medicines, and chemotherapy, whether oral or through the needle or anything like that, is nuts. Because the way they had it set up for me with the oral chemotherapy, 2 weeks on the medicine and 2 weeks off the medicine. Anyone who's going through chemo will know immediately, no matter what kind, when you're on chemo, the brain fog is real.
It's still real. You just have cancer. Had cancer.
But did it? How'd you? I know this is a general question, but Becky, I'll come to you first. If you went through chemo, and I'm assuming that you did, how was the brain fog? How'd you handle it?
It was really bad. I think one, because all those chemicals in your brain are so toxic, right? So it's causing that. But on top of that, just when, like what Ashley was saying, when you have cancer, it's literally all you think about. It consumes every thought of every part of your day. And so it's really hard to have your short-term memory work the way that it once did, because those short-term memories are filled with the fact that you now have cancer. So
it's fear. It's fear. And I can honestly say for 6 months, I lived in fear, especially being on the medicine. It was oral medicine. It was supposed to shrink the tumor before they went in and operated on it. But we were put in a horrible position because when I got cancer, we were still in a pandemic in 2021. And unfortunately, at that time, I couldn't claim any aid, and we were forced to move. So mix in the fact I had to keep my medicine on me, keep track of when I was taking it, And we moved, and I helped my wife move we helped my wife and my daughter, I beg your pardon. We moved from North Carolina back to Indiana, where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fogged out. I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
remember anything. And, my wife would tease me about something with sports, and I would just cry because my brain couldn't process at the
Mm-hmm.
time that my wife was teasing me,
Mm-hmm.
nor my daughter for that matter. I mean, it hit my family hard. And as I said, you want a strong one that kept my family together while I was sick and while I'm recovering? I just showed you. That's my wife, Jody. My children have also been so encouraging. Being in the pit of woe is me. And when you have cancer, even if you're not fogged out, the news that you have cancer will put you in a fog.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you invoke the fear factor.
Mm-hmm.
And Becky, let me come to you first. When you first found out the news and that you were going to be on you were going to be on chemo, and your family, I know, kept you strong. I can see from that smile. But when you were going through all of that with everything coming together, and how overwhelming was it from finding out the news to learning your treatment to mixing in the symptoms from having cancer? How overwhelming was it?
Every part of having cancer is overwhelming. And so I was a little bit different as well. I was going to refuse treatment. I did refuse treatment. I wasn't doing chemo. We've talked about this lots on our show. I thought chemo was for people who were uneducated and didn't know how to look any else like any other.
Right.
And it wasn't obviously the case. I was a little misguided in my thinking there with my hate on for pharmaceuticals, but I wasn't going to do chemo. And I ended up in Mexico for the first part of my treatment. I spent 6 weeks in Mexico doing treatment. And literally my first day in Mexico, my doctors there, who were there to give me holistic treatment, said to me, "You need chemo. The type of cancer that you have needs chemo." And I thought, well, I mean, if these guys say it, I think they're crazy, but I'll trust them. And the chemo that they do in Mexico is a lot different than in Canada where we are, or in the States. It's a lot less painful. Let's say it's low dose, and I didn't lose my hair, wasn't sick, anything like that. And then, after I did that treatment, I came home and I still had cancer. And now the cancer in the breast itself was gone or almost gone, but I still had a bunch of lymph nodes because I was stage 3. And I had to really reevaluate where my life was, what was I going to do? And that's when I decided that I was going to do conventional chemotherapy. And at this point, it's already the end of June. I was diagnosed February 1st. So it's now the end of June. So I really pushed it. And I did it. I just had this kind of awakening one day. I was like, okay, you can do it. You can be strong enough to do it. And I went into chemo thinking I'm going to have very little side effects because my immune system is so strong from all the holistic treatment I've done. And it whooped my butt the first round. It whooped me so hard. And I remember losing my hair. It was so terrible and
sad.
Emotional. Yeah. And but then I found really cute wigs, right? So you can't even tell now, but it was just so overwhelming. And as I had every side effect in the book from the first round, and I kept saying to my husband, I can't do this. I'm not going to do it. All I wanted to do was be natural. And then now, of course, I'm blaming anyone I could. And I'm like, and you made me do chemo because we don't have enough money to keep going back to Mexico. And I'm like, this is your fault that I'm going through this and it's not even working and it's making me sick. And then I, we adjusted the dosages and I got healthier. I got my mindset healthy. And then I was able to get through chemo a lot better. It wasn't as overwhelming. It was like, oh, well, I got chemo again. That's fine. Only 5 more, only 4 more, the countdown was on like that. And, that ended in October. And then I did my surgery, my radiation. And then I finally just finished all of my treatment a week and a half ago, my very last immunotherapy /chemotherapy. Yeah, was June 7th. So at this point, it's like looking back, it was so overwhelming at the time. And now it's like, it was easy. I can do that again. I'm not going to, but like I could.
Ashley, same question to you. How overwhelming was it from the diagnosis to learning treatments and having the medicines mess with you and the brain fog, and then
Oh,
your family being encouraging? But I will say this, your family is very encouraging. My family
mhm,
was. But when
mhm.
you're fogged out on all the chemicals that you're putting in your body and it's going to your brain, you don't know what's going on. So actually, I come to you with the same question. How overwhelming was it physically, mentally, and emotionally?
See, my path was different. Prior, I knew something was wrong with me. I had all these different things, gaining weight, my balance was off, bad smell, and then you don't think it's that. You don't want it to be that. And then when you find out, the hardest part for me, when I found out I had cancer, I was like, okay, you know what? They have treatment, you're going to do chemo, radiation, whatever. I'm like, I want to live because I have a son, I'm a full-time single mom. I'm like, I'm going to just do this. I was a little bit crunchy, as Becky says, with holistic stuff prior, but not as much as I am now. And then I find out that it was no options for me. I ended up in the beginning when they found it, I had stage 4 neuroendocrine cancer. It's a hormonal cancer, and where it was, and how it burst and where it was in my body, there was no chemo or radiation. So in my mind, I'm like, great, now I'm going to die, and the hard part about this form of cancer is that it will come back and it will take your life. So it's pretty much always in my body. It's just when it wants to become active. So I struggle. Like, I have a lot better, like way more better days now than I do, and I don't let the fear consume me, but it gets hard, you know, once it hits a major organ. They have 3 different treatments for it to prolong your life, but they can never really get rid of this cancer, and they have to do it by surgery. It's hard. It's disheartening for me because the form of cancer is, there's not very much research for it. I don't know why. I don't know why they haven't put more into it, or because I think a lot of people think, oh, you have cancer, it's all the same. It's not.
It's not.
Different. It's different for everyone. Everyone's bodies are different, So, I mean, I had to go down the holistic route because after my second invasive surgery, because I've had 3 in 8 months, I was like, what am I going to do? I didn't feel well, I was like, I knew there was something wrong with me. And then I decided to go down the holistic route and live blood analysis, start, cleaning my blood because I was infested with microscopic parasites, heavy metals, mold, blood clots. My liver was failing. And so we're working still, like, we've been able to clean out my blood as much as we can. And now there's a few other things that we're working on, and my liver, trying to get that back on track. But it's not easy.
No.
It is hard on your brain.
The holistic route, when you actually when you started that, what was the first step aside of the discovery? What was the first step that you needed to put into place to take you down that route when you started going with it?
Google. My brother-in-law, actually, he was the first step, because I was just like, I was so scared. I was crying. I was like, I'm gonna die. Like, what am I gonna do? Because I knew I was sick when I left, right? And my brother-in-law was like, no. And I've never heard of live blood analysis. And for me, that was my first step, and I was like, okay. And then everything after that, I researched and researched and researched, and I've changed my life completely, because you don't realize how much has chemicals in it, with, as we were talking about earlier, like with our creams, our soaps, our laundry detergents,
perfume,
perfume, everything has it, And so for me, it was like, okay, well, let's start fresh and let's see what I can do, what I can make to, start getting my body back on track. Because if like people will think, oh, if you drink alkaline water, you're going to be fine because it's going to alkalize your body. But it's like, there's so many different factors that go into, remaining healthy or becoming healthy again.
Mm-hmm.
As someone said to me once, it took your body X amount of years to get sick. It's not going to just get healthy in a week or even a year, right?
Yeah.
Like with these slow cancers, right? It could have been in your body for 5-8 years, right?
Because it's slow growing cancer.
So, who knows? It's not just going to get back. You're not just going to be healthy automatically by drinking alkalized water or...
Right.
You have to do, there's a lot of different things you need to do to get there and become healthy again. But it will take time. But it's consistency. You have to make sure you don't quit just because you don't see results.
One thing that can contribute to you quitting the holistic route, which is what my wife is designing for me, stress. The stress is real. And
it is.
3 separate times during this road, in the last 3 years, I am working on getting rid of caffeine once and for all. I have depleted my supply here in the house. I haven't gone out as much, but the stress is real, and the stress will bring you back to every bad habit you tried to break. And with me combining an amputation of my right big toe and being in a wheelchair since February, every bad habit came back. And I hate it. I hate being immobilized. When you have cancer and you are taking so many chemicals, my goal is within the next year to be off all my medicine and to naturally be back, as my wife said, high on life and not any chemicals.
Totally.
Yep.
You understand, caffeine is a very addictive chemical. I look over here to my left and I have a medicine cocktail that I have to take twice a day. There are shots of Lovenox, blood thinner, that I have to take twice a day. And I want to be off of all this medicine so bad, but it's hard and it's crazy. And it's a routine that I have to stick with for now until I get out of this chair. Becky, what was the first part of your routine that you had to establish to start getting you back to being you? What was the first part of your new routine?
Well, the first thing I did when I got sick, like literally the next day, was cut out meat and went raw vegan. Now, I don't recommend that. That was just the very first research I did, was saying that hormonal cancers can be fueled by meat, probably because a lot of the meat that we eat is full of antibiotics and vaccines and things like that. It's not clean. And I really struggled with it. I am such a meat eater. And I also think that like your blood type really plays into what you're supposed to be eating. And so I struggled with that. And so I got off that pretty quickly, and I just introduced really clean meats into my diet, pasture raised, grass finished, wild caught, things like that. That was helpful. And then, I just started seeing different holistic practitioners here before I went to Mexico. And then all of these doctors all put me on something different. And of course I researched them. At first I kind of blindly took what they had to say and ran with it. And then as I did the research and I realized like what each product they gave me was doing and how that benefited having cancer, then I started to make my own opinions. And like there's been supplements and vitamins and things that I've gotten off of just because I thought, I don't know if it's necessary for me to have this in my body anymore. And, I went from there. But the first step I think is just to really get your head in the right space, knowing that, it's not your fault that you got sick, but knowing that like the things that you put into your body, both food, mental, like any
Mhm.
trauma, anything like that
Stress.
is stuff that you've put yourself into that situation, right? And how you've dealt with it. And
Mhm.
so understanding that
Mhm.
it's up to you and only you to
To
change
save your
those
life.
things. Yeah. Like I also think like once you start realizing that your doctor isn't the savior, and I'm not saying that
Mhm.
there's anything wrong with doctors. There is
Right.
nothing wrong with doctors. I think there
Mhm.
is a time and a place for
Mhm.
everything. But when you put all of your trust in the pharmaceutical system and your doctor, following a conventional treatment that they use for the same cancer,
Mhm.
you know, like over and over again, knowing that every individual body is different and responds differently, like when you start to realize that there are alternatives, then I think you really get your head in a much better headspace.
It's taken until this week for me now to have a goal of getting off these meds.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones that really mess with me the most, my depression meds.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I
Mhm.
was homeless, I fell into a depression. When I lost my daughter in 2015, my sweet little daughter, Donna,
Mhm.
that set me off. My losing my dad
Mhm.
sent me down. And now, just as I thought I had just as I thought I would have forever with Jody, I get hit with this.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm on 2 different depression meds.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this aloud, I hate them both.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I hate being on depression meds. So that's why I try to flood my brain with happy memories, you
Mm-hmm.
know, old games that I watch, including the '85 Oilers.
Whoop, whoop.
My favorite, my favorites: Mark Messier,
Mm-hmm.
Grant Fuhr, of course, Wayne Gretzky.
Grant Fuhr is
Mhm.
from our town.
Yeah.
Just
And I love Grant Fuhr, and it's just the happy memories that I'm making
Mhm.
with my family that
Mhm.
am I partially afraid of going off my meds? Yeah, I am, but I want to.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
want to be off. I want to be off of these and get back into not worrying about life or anything like that. But
Mhm.
again, that's where the stress comes in. The stress can also lead to depression.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at right now, and I don't want to be down that. I don't want to be down that road again. How do you guys, with all this? Sorry, I'm getting ready to cry, and I don't want to, but I'll say it anyway.
Okay.
Becky? Let me start with you. How do you combat the depression that accompanies all this going on?
Well, I think I'm very blessed in that my disposition is always very joyful. Through some of the darkest moments of my life, I've always been able to see the good
Mhm.
in everything. And a lot of people even think that that's disingenuous because how could you be joyful through moments
Right.
like this? I mean, that being said as well, like I have a faith too, right? Well, how do you put it? I'm a churchgoer, I
Yeah.
guess, or you know, so I've always had
Mhm.
that has kept me joyful and looking to the positives of things. So yeah, I've been very blessed to be
Mhm.
able to see it. Now, don't get me wrong, there are days where it's dark, right? Where
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, is it going to come back? But I only gave myself moments in that
Mhm.
headspace. I listened to a podcast where the guy said that when he got sick, he allowed himself 5 minutes a day to have a pity party. And then it was like, get back to it. And I found when I allowed myself that space, I didn't need it. I
Mhm.
didn't need that space because I thought, like, you know, you're not, first of all, you're not dying. That's what I said
Mhm.
to
Right.
myself all the time.
Mhm.
You've got
Right.
kids that need you to be
Mhm.
there for them this entire time.
And the
So,
fight, the
yes.
will to
So
live.
yeah.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
had that. But yeah, I was just really so blessed and able to see that light at the end of the tunnel all the time.
Mhm.
Let's go to the Fanatics feedback zone. Charles Adderley was the first one in. He says, "Good afternoon, all."
Hi,
And we're
Charles.
joined by our brother Sig Diggy from Norway. He says, "Good afternoon" at Snowman Multimedia and Two Girls with Cancer.
Hi.
Charles, once again, be encouraged, uplifted, motivated, and inspired. And now I am all those things from talking to you ladies and sharing experiences that we have. My good friend RC says, greets Charles Adderley. He returns the greeting. And our good friend Ryan McCarthy from Saratoga, New York says, "It's always darkest before the dawn.
Yes.
Hang in there."
Mhm.
And he's so right. He
Mhm.
is so right with that.
Mm-hmm.
What led you two to come together to create this incredible podcast?
Just shared experiences, I
Yeah.
guess. We both have talked about how we felt so alone in the early parts of this process because, like,
Nobody understands.
how many, girls that are the same age
Mhm.
as us, our friends, have gone through this? Well, none.
No.
And that was it was lonely.
And like the doctors, you're too young to have, when one doctor's like, oh,
Mhm.
you're just stressed out. No, I'm not. But it's like, if you don't have someone, nobody really understands what you're going through. Nobody
Right.
will until they go through
Until
it
they've gone through
themselves.
it.
Right.
Mhm.
And so to be able to have somebody who gets it, people see us this way, or we have makeup, we look good, people don't think we're sick, or you know what I mean? It's just
Right.
people don't understand.
Like, I think there are a
Gentlemen,
lot of
mhm.
times.
Florida.
Oh,
Sorry.
no,
Push the
that's
wrong
okay.
button. Go ahead.
There were a lot of times where it's like, I'm just so tired. I don't want to go out. I don't want to go anywhere with you. I don't want to do
Yeah.
anything. And it's like, I
Yeah.
feel pressured
Mhm.
to do that. And because I present myself a certain
Mhm.
way, again, always joyful and in a good mood and with makeup on and my hair done, people don't actually think that I'm sick or don't think I'm going through anything. Or now that I'm a few months past having
Mhm.
cancer, well, like, why are you still so tired? But it's like, it's with
just
each other.
mind-boggling.
Right.
It's like,
It is,
you don't know
man.
what I just went
I
through.
know.
Are
It
you serious?
is.
Yeah.
It
Like-
is. I mean, people don't get or understand what you've been through, what your body
No.
has been through, what your mind has been through, the emotions that come out,
Mhm.
what what mentally you have been through. Because people know me from, well, saying it plainly, being a goofball and
Mhm.
having fun and talking to people and joking with people. And when we first moved back here to Indiana, we were staying with my in-laws. There were days I didn't want to get out of bed.
There's days you can't get out of bed.
And feel guilty for that.
Hey, truth. There are
Right.
days you can't get out of bed.
Physically.
Physically.
And you feel guilty,
Mm-mm.
like I
Mhm.
should be up doing
Me
things.
too.
Like there would be days my husband would come home and I'd be laying on the couch, buck ass naked, because I was so hot flashing from the chemo.
Mhm.
And I'm
Mhm.
like, I'm sorry, I haven't done anything today. And he's like, that's fine. What are you supposed to be doing? And I'm like, something. Like
Mhm.
I had this pressure on
Mhm.
myself, and I'm sure you
Yeah.
definitely felt. Well, you had a young kid,
I had a
so
young 3-year-old.
where you need to get up and you need to do stuff. Even
Mhm.
like, I don't know, life doesn't wait for anyone, especially for sick people.
Well, still sometimes I wonder,
True.
like, how'd I do it? Like, I had a great support system.
Mhm.
My mom was a big, big, big help. And still to this day, like, I'm still struggling with stuff. And there's days where I literally can't get out of bed and I can't even roll over to be mom, to even sit up. And my mom's there and she's got it. And, and my son understands. He just wants mommy to get better,
The
It's
mental
hard.
state, the mental state for me from finding out that I had cancer, because that's what took my parents.
Mhm.
Prostate cancer took my dad and colon cancer took my mom. And I had one moment where I think, well, I guess I'm supposed to be next. And I think my
Mhm.
wife and my
Mhm.
children sensed it. And they went, oh no, you don't. You have a
Right.
lot more games to call before you're
Totally.
done.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard that, it got me motivated and it keeps me motivated.
Mhm.
The best day through all this. Well, first there was my operation on April 4th, 2 years ago.
Mhm.
What was supposed to be only a 3-hour surgery turned into a 5.5-hour surgery. I was
That's-
wheeled into ICU. I opened my eyes. I saw my wife and my brain said, okay, we're good. We can go to sleep. And my daughter flew in from Los Angeles, walked in with the nurses, and I see this crazy redhead walking in, and my spirit gets picked up even more. It's like, okay, my daughter's here. I know my wife's nearby. I'm good now. A year later, not even a year, February of 23, we go in to see my oncologist, and we said, Jody said, we're going to wait till April 4th, the anniversary, to see if we're in remission. And then my oncologist delivered a sentence I thought I'd never hear when he said, "You're already in remission."
Praise the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
He said the remission's already started. I looked at him and I said, "Say that again." The look on my face and Jody's face, but say that one more time.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked me in the eye. He said, "The remission's already begun." You want to talk about someone 50 years old jumping up and down like a 6-year-old kid, throwing his hands around, celebrating, thanking God for another chance.
Mm-hmm.
That was me.
Mm-hmm.
That was
so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've used that to deliver my testimony, do interviews like this, and listening to you guys' podcast has really, really encouraged me. And if y'all get a chance, look up Two Girls with Cancer. The first of all, what got me was the name, and the second thing, hearing you guys share stories and laughing.
A lot of laughing.
Well, we got, the biggest thing is hope. It's such a scary journey. And if we can help people and give them hope that they're not alone and that we've made it, we can give some hope to people.
Mm-hmm. And we were both later, like Ashley was stage 4, I was stage 3. The type of breast cancer I have is the most aggressive kind with the highest amounts of recurrence, right? Like, so, that there are definitely days where we're like, yeah, we're not out of the woods, but we are going to live in the moment right now. We are going to, see the joy in what God's given us right now, because we both have such a testimony, and we want other people who feel dark or feel despair to know that you can live in the moment and you can look at it as today and what good things have happened today, and not like, I have cancer and this is the dark cloud hanging over my head constantly.
We have another guest in the comment section. Kenneth Clark has joined us. Kenneth, where are you watching or listening from so we can shout you out properly? He says, "Hey, Snowman, how are you doing today? I'm doing good today, and I'll be praying for you and your special guests." Well, we will be praying for you in return, Kenneth, just to let everybody know that you can and will beat this. Because, and he says, Patlaka, Florida. He's in Florida.
Nice.
I didn't think I'd beat this, but I did. I am totally in remission. I am close to getting out of this chair and walking again. And I know that's going to take a bit because the legs were the strongest part of my body when I was younger. And now I have to strengthen them again. And I know that. And being
our bodies are amazing.
Aren't they?
We don't give them nearly enough credit for what they do. They're so amazing and resilient and strong.
The resilience is off the charts. The resilience of this is off the charts, because I can honestly say I didn't know how resilient I would be in fighting this. Your body gets tested all the time just to see how resilient you are, how resilient you can be, and if you have that drive left in you. I can honestly say I didn't think I had it, but I'm wrong.
Well,
we're wrong. We do have it.
You've talked about all of those really traumatic events that you've been through. And at the time, I'm sure it was like, why does this keep happening to me? But I mean, it is such a testimony, because look at the resilience that it's created in you for this moment. And not saying that those things happened for this moment. I mean, I really do think that God's got some interesting plans for everyone's life, but you've taken those like really awful experiences and you've created this strength inside of you that you didn't even know you had. So your body it knows what it's doing.
We all have, I knew I was strong, but to go through something like this
Mhm.
and to continue having that worry every single day, we really do have to give ourselves a little pat on the back because we are quite strong. We don't give ourselves enough credit.
We really don't. And mentioning the holistic living, like I said, that's what my wife is working on
Mhm.
with me. I mean, she encourages me every day, and now I'm just about back to the point where I'm lifting myself and lifting others
Awesome.
Mhm.
around me. But I didn't know I had the to start with. I didn't know I had that much strength because in 3 years' time, I had blood clots in both my lungs. I went through pancreatic cancer. I had surgery to remove 5 organs within my body. I had to deal with post surgery problems, including going to the bathroom
Mhm.
700 times a day. Different medicines like a digestive enzyme that I have to take because I don't have my gallbladder, and my spleen is gone, and quite a few other things. And that first week home from the hospital was a wreck
Mhm.
because I basically lived in the bathroom
Mhm.
because every time I ate something, it went right through me.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And boy, oh boy, that was a mess. To the point where a couple of times I didn't make it. And I thought, okay, am I 5 years old again? And
Mhm.
before we moved, I wasn't sleeping in bed with my wife. I was sleeping near the bathroom.
Mhm.
Per her suggestion, she says, if you're afraid, go sleep near the bathroom.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
she'll come out, be dressed and ready to go to work. And she'll come down and she'll give me a kiss and she'll get me up in the chair and encourage me. And it got so scary that I got down to 208 pounds and my bones were showing.
Wow.
Wow.
I haven't been 208 pounds since I left for college.
Not at
Mhm.
6'5".
Not
Right.
at 6'5" at all. Fortunately, and thank the Lord, all that has changed.
Mhm.
But it's like I get up, I do my show, then I go lay down for a bit, then I eat, and I'm getting back into that pattern where I get some downtime after my show because I have a horrible habit of signing off and thinking what's the next thing I do and then doing
Mhm.
it. And by that time, and I know you ladies have been through this. What's up, Darian? Sorry I missed you today. Was preparing for this wonderful interview. Then my body gives me a very sharp reminder that I needed rest
Mhm.
because sitting here in my office, I have a stool under me where I can stretch out my legs. And as soon as I stretch out my legs and I get one thing done and don't remember what I'm supposed to do next,
Mhm.
guess what? I'm snoring right here.
Your
Mhm.
body needs that sleep. It needs to
Yeah.
repair.
Because you
It
heal
does.
when you rest. You're sleeping.
How important is it, coming through cancer to get your body the rest that it needs?
It's very
It's
important.
insanely
When your
important.
body tells you you're tired, you go take that nap. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter what anyone's going to say. You need to heal. You need to sleep to heal. That's when our body repairs itself.
Yeah. Now I'm getting like a good 6 hours sleep every night,
Mhm.
working on 7 to 8 hours. I don't drink as much caffeine as I used to, even though I've been stressed out like all get out. And
Mhm.
what I said in my other podcast, Diary of a Mad Snowman, two things you can take away from a man to really hurt him: his family, or a way to support his family.
Mhm.
And that second one has messed with me for 3 years because I haven't been able to
Mhm.
work.
Mhm.
I haven't
Mhm.
been able to work consistently. My wife is the breadwinner.
Mhm.
Does it mess with me? Yes. Do I know that she and I have switched roles for the time being? Yeah. And for a while, like I said, for a while it really messed with me because I was so anxious to get back to work, and then my amputation happened. Now, and then on top of that, I forgot to include this. the state of Indiana won't allow me to claim disability.
Why?
One, my wife's salary, and two, they say I haven't put in enough work credits
Mm.
because I'm trying to run my business as well, and they denied me twice.
Terrible.
Mhm.
So I said, the hell with it. Okay. I said, y'all want me to go back to work? I'll go back to work, and I'm still going to turn my business into $1 billion empire.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
The moment I said that, my wife looked at me, gave me a hug and a kiss, and she said, let's go get it.
Yes.
Whatever we have to do to move the heck out of Indiana, find our forever place, and really build our empire.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go get it. Wow.
It's
Mhm.
I think we've talked about this many times on our show. Like your
Mhm.
body hears what you say. So even when you're talking down about it, like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. Yeah, you can. Your body's going to hear you
Mhm.
say you can't do it, it's not going to do it. But
Mhm.
when you're saying, I'm going to get that empire, I'm going to make this $1 billion, like
Mhm.
your body is hearing you.
Mhm.
You
And it
know,
gives you the drive that you need to keep going.
right?
Yeah.
It
You always
does.
have to always tell yourself that you can do
it.
You can do anything. You can do anything you put your mind to.
You
It's,
can beat cancer. You
Yeah.
can
I tell
walk
myself
again.
all the time the cancer's never going to come back because I'm not
Mhm.
going to allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Nor am I.
Especially with, and it can come back for any of us that have
Mhm.
had it already,
Yeah, for
Well, we
anybody
are
that's dealing with cancer, when it goes away, you keep saying it's not coming back.
Mhm.
I tell myself that on a daily basis. It's not coming back. And I swear to you, it won't come back. I'm
Mhm.
gonna get out of this chair.
Mhm.
I'm gonna strengthen my legs so I can walk again. And since the state of Indiana is telling me to go back to work, okay, fine. I'll go back to work. I'll put enough money away where I can build my empire without your help.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is a
But
powerful thing, and you really can do, anything.
Mm-hmm.
we are going to do this. And we're
Mhm.
going to close out right there. Folks, if you're whatever you're going through, the three of us are going to pray for you. We're going to give you strength, and you're going to chase all of your dreams.
Mhm.
Because as I say all the time, chase your dreams, catch them, and then chase the next ones.
Mhm.
Because they're going to pop up.
Yep.
I have had such a wonderful conversation with these two ladies, two girls with cancer. I want you to find them on YouTube or all your podcast outlets and binge listen to their episodes.
Please do. We've got 9 out. We're recording number 10 today. So that'll be out on Tuesday. And we just hope to continue to put out episodes as long as our bodies allow it.
Yeah.
They'll allow it.
They will allow it. You're right.
They'll allow it. And I did a live promo on my morning show, and I will continue to do it just to get you guys to get people to listen to you guys' story, because it needs to be told. The same way my friends tell me my story needs to be told.
You've got a platform. Use it, my friend. You have a story. You have gone through a lot, and you've come through, and you were resilient, and you were strong. So share it. People need to hear it.
Will do. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you. Everybody in the chat appreciates you. Everyone in the region, across the nation, around the world appreciates you. And we appreciate everyone who's tuned in to hear this wonderful story. Two Girls with Cancer. The podcast is out on YouTube. Episode 10 comes out on Tuesday. Hit the notification bell on their YouTube page as well as mine, and you will hear all about these two. God bless you. So long, everybody.
Thank you for tuning into The Brian Snow Show, where sports is the base, life and fun are the results.